The following video has been brought to you by RYN Studios. Release your nerd. Hello everyone, my name is the KingOfClubs and welcome to another episode of Storytime. In this episode I'm going to be telling you guys a story about something that happened to me a number of years ago that I actually didn't tell a whole lot of people. In fact, this video, based on who actually watches it, could get quite the reaction out of a lot of people, because this is a story that I've actually only told to a handful of friends, some coworkers. I think my brother's the only family that I've actually told this story to. My parents don't know the story, so if they watch this video, they might have they might want to talk to me. This is a story about an incident that happened involving me almost wrecking my car, and it could have been a lot worse than what it did. A number of years ago, I think like 4 years ago, maybe. It's kind of fuzzy on the timeline right now. Say maybe 4.5 years ago. I had ended a relationship with the girl I was dating at the time, and we went our separate ways. We were actually both moving out of the house we shared for a long time, and she was moving north, I was moving south. She was moving in with her dad and stepmom, I was moving in with my mother, both until we could, move into a better situation. At the time I was working at a factory, and I worked 12 hours a night from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and I worked off and on like 3 days in a row, a couple days off, 2 days in a row, 3 days off. It alternated schedules. I had just finished up my week, my 3-day week, my long week. Maybe 3 or 4. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what the layout was. It was a alternating schedule that could leave you feeling very tired by the time you were done. Anyway, it was my long week, and I just finished it. I just got off work that morning, and I had gotten a text the night before from my ex saying that she ended up with one of my boxes by mistake, which is fine. I don't mind. I don't have anything against my ex. I don't hold any negative feelings towards any of my exes. And so she said that if I want to come pick it up, I'd have to drive out there myself. I said that's fine. I don't mind. I said I'd do it sometime after work. Well, what ended up happening was I worked my 12-hour shift, and then I said, okay, I'm just gonna go up there, get stuff, visit for a little bit, come home, get some rest. But the problem with this is the fact that I hadn't slept at all that week. I had been having horrible insomnia. I had not slept hardly at all that entire week, so I had been up for about 3 or 4 days straight, which is not good. That is not anything I would advise anyone ever doing. So if you add on to the fact that I'm driving north, okay, so where she lives in relationship to where I had moved to, she lived about 2 hours north of me. So after I got off work, I had to drive 2 hours north and was going to drive another 2 hours back south to get home, which I did. I got off work, I had breakfast, I changed, I believe, mind you, this has been years ago, so I'm trying to remember the details. I believe I showered and changed, because after working in a factory all night, you look and smell terrible. I can't smell anything. So anyway, so I got in my car. I drove 2 hours there, which by the time I got down there, it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. By the time I actually got to her house, I got my stuff, loaded it up, visited with her and her kids, which I adored, by the way. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna head back. I'm getting kind of tired, and I'm heading back, and I'm feeling tired by the time I get back to town. About 10 miles north of town, I'm getting really tired, but I'm like, I'm not that far. I can make it. I can make it. I made it, but barely. At this point, it is, because of traffic and because I had to make a stop and get gas at about the halfway point, it is about 4:30, almost 5 p.m. on a Friday. So, a busy time of day to be traveling, horrible time to be driving, especially if you're tired. I'm in the left-hand lane driving home about 10 miles north of town, and I start getting really groggy, real sleepy. And I doze off just for a second, literally just a couple seconds. I closed my eyes, which is bad. This is just terrible. Do not drive if you're exhausted. And I snap myself awake, and here about 8 or 9 miles north of town, I lose control of my car. I lose control. I start veering off to the left, to the median, which is bad. I mean, it's bad that you're losing control of your car, but even worse, you're losing control going towards the oncoming lanes, because I'm on a highway that has a median that divides it. I start going towards the median. I try to self-correct, but I just can't get it in time, and I go into the median, and everything is like going in slow motion. It probably happened in just a matter of seconds in all reality, but it felt like it took forever for this to actually happen. I go across the median, across the oncoming lanes, and end up in the opposite ditch, facing north, not south, facing north. So I basically do a complete 180 in the process of this whole thing, and somehow I do not get hit by a single car. At 4:30, almost 5 p.m. on a Friday, I don't get hit by a single car, which is nothing short, in my opinion, of a miracle. Because this is a busy highway, and it's a highway that's notorious for having bad accidents and bad wrecks. So I end up in the ditch, not to the point where I couldn't get out. I was able to get out on my own just fine. But when I stopped, when I actually land there, I stop and I think for a moment, and I have to kind of gather myself. And I'm just kind of frozen at first, in shock. And when I finally gathered myself up to actually form a thought, the first thing that pops into my head is, I'm alive. The second thought, as funny as this may sound, is I didn't shit myself. Because that was my next concern, is that I would have crapped my pants in the whole panic of that mess. I'm sure within that 2 hour, it felt like 2 hours, within that 2 seconds of it actually happening, I was probably screaming like a little girl. But I hadn't actually, nothing had happened to me. I looked around, and I was like, okay, can I get out of the ditch? So I start up my car. Well, my car was still started. Surprisingly enough, I make sure I'm in gear. I let off the brake, and I get into the road. Thankfully, the median had a spot where I could turn around and head back south anyway. Wasn't very far from where I was at, too. So I'm able to get out of the ditch, get onto the road, get turned around, heading south again. I get into town, and I stop at the first gas station I come to. And I get out, I walk around my car, make sure there's no damage. I don't see anything. My car seems to be running just fine. And then I just kind of sit there, I'm like, I am very, very lucky. Just kind of sat there and I took a giant sigh of relief. I kind of waited for myself to settle down a little bit, and then I left. Got in my car and I left. Went home, because now I was wired. I was so terrified. I was wired. Got home. I didn't say much to my mom. I went into my room and I laid down, and that was just kind of the end of it. That's a story I haven't told very many people. I know a lot of my family, if they're watching this, they're probably going to be a bit shocked. Some of them are probably going to be a bit mad, actually. But yeah, that's story. Maybe this title might be a bit dramatic. I mean, it could have ended a lot worse. I could have been hit by another car. I could have been to the point where I couldn't get out of the ditch. I could have actually had something seriously bad happen to me. In this case, I was very, very fortunate. But the lesson that I want to kind of pass on from this story is not to drive when you're exhausted. If you're having trouble sleeping, or if you've gone days without sleeping, don't drive. Have someone else pick you up, have someone else drive you, do whatever you gotta do. Walk if you have to, but don't drive if you're exhausted. I've made this mistake. I've survived this mistake. I almost made this mistake again not that long ago, but I wised up. I got what I needed to do to keep myself from sleeping while driving, and it's something I would never advise anyone to ever do. If you're tired, don't drive. Never drive. Honestly, sleep driving is, in some cases, as bad as drunk driving because you're still not in control of your body. You're not controlling your functions, and you have no idea what the hell's going on. But yeah, that's just kind of my thing. I hope if anyone catches anything, I hope you guys just listen to my advice on this. If you liked the story, let me know, comments below what you guys think. If you've had a near-death experience or a miracle experience similar to this, let me know in the comments below. Check me out on my social media. I've got Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Snapchat, all those good things. Be sure to add me on there. Be sure to favorite this video if you really liked it. Subscribe to my channel for more videos and more stories. I try to put out stories like this once a week. I aim for every Thursday. Yeah, I hope you guys have a nice day, and see you guys.